You can't safeguard your children from a threat you don't comprehend. And you have to realize, if you run any institution, that predators want access to children, and specifically they want unsupervised access to children. So they want to be your Sunday school teachers, they want to be your coaches, they want to be your scout leaders, because they'll have access to the children in positions of public trust, which they abuse. They abuse the positions of public trust like they abuse the children.
Hey folks, I'm back with Craig Sawman Sawyer. I got to tell you, my jaw was on the floor during the entire first podcast with Sawman. It's just, I feel like there's not enough time in life for us to do what we need to do to make this world a better place for our children and our grandchildren and the future generations of people. We are so blessed. We live in this amazing universe on this small planet that is so precious and a gift from God. And just to think that there are these horrors that are happening is heartbreaking. It's just sickening and stunning to hear about abuse of children that is happening every single day in America. We need to be the people that stand on principle. We need to be the people that save children. We need to be the people that God wants us to be and fight back. I refuse to be silent, and I won't stop speaking out against this tragedy. I won't. I don't care. I know there's so many mama bears out there that are ready to fight the fight with me and that are doing that every single day. Just please don't give up. Please keep up the fight. Evil wants us to be exhausted. Evil wants us to give up. It makes it easier for all these evil people to get away with what they get away with when we give up. So do not. I'm so excited for you to hear the rest of this interview. And I know you guys are excited too. And you want to support great patriots like Craig Sawman Sawyer and his organization, Vets for Child Rescue. That's Vets for Child Rescue. And by the way, if you haven't seen his documentary, Contraland, you absolutely must see it. Please take a moment, see it for yourself. Before we get to Craig Sawman Sawyer, I want to tell you a little bit about ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN, internet service providers operate like monopolies in regions that they serve. Even worse, many of the ISPs log on to your internet activity and then they sell that data onto other big tech companies or advertisers. To prevent them from seeing my internet activity, I protect my devices with ExpressVPN. You just can't go wrong here. Go to expressvpn.com/Sara, that's SARA. You'll get 3 extra months free. You cannot beat that. So go to expressvpn.com/Sara to get 3 extra free months, right? Visit expressvpn.com/Sara. That's expressvpn.com/Sara, and you'll get 3 extra free months free. Look, I'm protecting my internet. You need to protect your internet activity as well. That's expressvpn.com/Sara to learn more. What triggered you to say, you know what? I've got to do this. I've got to work to save children. What was the one thing that happened that sent you in that direction?
A friend of mine from the CIA had grown up in the area just north of Houston where I did. And he was telling me 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, Craig, this area that we grew up in has become the hottest epicenter of child trafficking in the United States. And Sarah, I felt like someone kicked me right in the stomach. I was trying to reconcile that with our culture. I'm like, wait a minute. We love Jesus around here. We love America around here. We love children around here. We're practical people. What would allow that level of sickness and deprivation to be that pervasive here? I don't see it. I don't get it. He goes, that's just it. He goes, Craig, I don't think people have any comprehension of what's going on. This is going on right under their noses. And that's when I realized this is a covert operation. This is a domestic covert operation run at industrial scale. And when I say it's a domestic operation, I mean it is government sponsored. You cannot run anything at industrial scale without that tax man getting his hands on it, right?
So how are they doing this? Like, what do you mean? Like at industrial scale, like as far as like, what do you mean? Like, are they covering it up, laundering it with other businesses and then people don't really know that what they're dealing with is an actual child, like double laundromat, like where they're moving children as well as money. And
industrial scale, I'm talking with Super Bowl and Formula One, a lot of these events, law enforcement will draw a square on the board when they're briefing before the event and say, okay, here's the no-go zone. You know what they mean by that, Sarah? That's an area where the diplomats and the high-ranking crooks go, where they don't arrest them or investigate no matter what they're doing. And you'll have buses of children brought in there.
I got to tell you, I know a lot of people out there that are listening to us right now that are probably thinking, no, that can't be. There can't be this kind of level of depravity that we're allowing this to happen. But it happens. Yeah. And I know it does. And I was, I was covering stories. And in fact, it was with the State Department source who just reached out to me not too long ago and said, hey, I ran into Joey Jones. I was in Texas, and Joey works with me at Fox, and he's a wounded vet. He's amazing, and an anchor at Fox News. And the source that I was talking to is somebody who was the first person that became a whistleblower at the State Department and then exposed what he was saying was ongoing pedophilia by higher ranking members of the State Department. Some of them were actually, there was ongoing investigations that never went anywhere. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, one was an ambassador to a foreign nation, and there was an ongoing investigation that just disappeared into the woodwork because they were good friends with the Clintons. And I think if anybody just looks that up, they will find out who that person is. It was somebody that was being investigated in Europe for taking young children, gypsy boys that were out. And it was actually diplomatic security that turned him in. Yeah. The interesting part, Craig, and what backs you up is that they did not bust this guy. Despite all the evidence against him, he was not formally ever charged.
Well, you're going to have diplomatic immunity, and that's international. There's a reason for that, but we're talking about something that supersedes that. This is bigger than just diplomatic immunity. We're talking about high-ranking officials in every
but diplomatic immunity for pedophilia? Diplomatic immunity for pedophilia?
Diplomatic immunity is pretty much for anything, I'm sad to say. Because they're talking about when they set that up, they have in mind entire nations and many millions of people, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people getting along for decades to come. And so they make things go away. An ambassador's son gets drunk and, speed and kills somebody. They just whisk him away and cover it up and, make quiet just so that, relations can be maintained. But what we're talking about is far greater than just that. There's a deep corruption, and they all realize they can benefit from doing this. And, whether or not, and here's the thing, Sarah, healthy-minded, normal people can't comprehend this because we're not wired for it. It takes a while of reviewing the evidence and seeing the people catching them red-handed before you could finally reconcile and go, oh my God, this is really happening. These people are this dark. So we got to realize that whether or not we believe that way, they do. The criminals believe that way. It's religious for them, and they do this.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. The cartels in Mexico also, there have been a number of evidence, a plethora of evidence showing that some of the cartels actually do believe in this type of worship, this type of satanic rituals, that what they've done with these children is horrific. I was going to ask you, what is it like to stare evil in the face when you apprehend these predators or when you confront them? What is that like?
It's weird. It's weird. A lot of people ask me, Craig, how do you, keep from throttling these guys? And my answer to that is I'm a professional, and I have faith in my mission by God Almighty to expose this so that our culture can turn against it. And if I color inside the lines, if I do a professional job and have self-discipline and remain solid in my integrity and conduct professional work, then I will be able to do this long term and have a much greater positive effect. So that's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at a guy who came to rape 2 kids, one of whom my own, when our daughter is serving as a junior decoy agent, which she has done. And you guys can see that in our documentary Contraland, by the way. And I encourage you to. It is upsetting, but I'll ask them, before I'll call in the SWAT team into the room, I'll just ask them like, man, I'm curious, what got you all the way off of a full-grown bombshell female with all the bells and whistles that indicate health and vitality, that'll give you healthy offspring and all the scientific reasons why you're primally attracted to certain things. What got you all the way down to this little stick figure child that doesn't have any of that or any of the intellect to interact with you in any meaningful way? Like, it's nothing but harmful. How did you get all the way down to this? And what they'll tell me, Sarah, is inevitably it starts with porn. Porn is like a gateway drug. They'll start with it, and then it's like that, Guns N' Roses song, a little wouldn't do it. So little got mo and mo, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they get sick. Numb to whatever they got started on. They go down this spiral into the abyss, and they get away from anything that's where they start, and they get all the way down to animals and children and just snuff flicks and just disgusting gutter filth. And that's Satan's realm. It's all a lure. It's all glitter on a cow patty. It's all that. It's all biblical. When you read the Bible, you recognize what it's trying to warn us against and go, oh my gosh, I want my children to read this book because it'd keep them out of the ditches in life. It'd keep them out of the, off of Skid Row.
Right.
And all this, but that's what we're
up against.
Finding is just this whole downward spirals. And when I talk to them, they'll reveal that. So folks,
do the NGOs ever participate knowingly or unknowingly in this? I mean, do they even know what I mean? We're hearing of NGOs that are corrupt.
Right. Ones that are specifically Catholic that work on the other side of the border. Some of those are helping traffic the children. And there are others that pretend to be a good guy, but they're just hooking themselves up, or worse, they're actually participating in the crime. So you really have to do your due diligence and use discernment, pray, and research, vet your sources, I always say.
Right. Absolutely.
Look at someone's actions. Look at what they've produced. Look at the fruit. The Bible calls it the fruit. We'll know them by their fruit. What has a person actually done with their life? What effect have they brought? And then that you can use to judge by and go, okay, here's Joe Blow, and I can measure him because all the things that he's done and all the results that he's brought, that's irrefutable. I mean, that speaks for itself. So.
Did you know that sleeping less than 6 to 7 hours per night is linked to reduced white blood cell count? White blood cells protect our body against illnesses and diseases, fighting viruses, bacteria, and so much more. That's why I'm so excited to introduce you to Beam Dream. We've been raving about Beam's Dream Powder, their healthy hot cocoa for sleep. It's so delicious. And today, my listeners get a special discount on Beam's Dream Powder, their best-selling healthy hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. Now it's available in delicious seasonal flavors like cinnamon cocoa. Get some for your family and friends, sea salt caramel, and white chocolate peppermint. Better sleep has never tasted better. By the way, a recent clinical study revealed Dream helped 93% of users wake up feeling more refreshed, and 93% reported that Dream helped them get a more restful night's sleep. I'm going to tell you this. I am traveling all over the country, and I feel so much better when I drink this Beam's Dream Powder, because not only do I get to sleep and I have great rest in my sleep, no crazy dreams, none of that weird stuff that you would get from other sleep aids. But I wake up in the morning and I actually feel good. I actually feel refreshed. And now you could just get that Beam's Dream Powder for all of your family. Put it in their stocking. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, take advantage of their biggest sale of the year and get up to 50% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Sara Carter. The discount is also applied at checkout, so no code is necessary. That's shop, BEAM.com/Sara Carter, SARACARTER, for up to 50% off. Vetsforchildrescue.org, folks. Go to vetsforchildrescue.org. This is such a great organization. You have tons of tools and guides for parents and guardians, and you're a God-fearing Christian man. Why is it important for parents, teachers, and church leaders to understand how traffickers operate?
It's important for them because you can't safeguard your children from a threat you don't comprehend. And you have to realize, if you run any institution, that predators want access to children. And specifically, they want unsupervised access to children. So they want to be your Sunday school teachers. They want to be your coaches. They want to be your scout leaders, because they'll have access to the children and positions of public trust, which they abuse. They abuse the positions of public trust like they abuse the children. So, man, when you have a society that doesn't have any moral standards anymore, and lying, cheating, and stealing are okay, when none of the basic 10 commandments are followed, you have utter destruction, chaos, and mayhem. And it's not about being saints and righteous, pious little people with, stiff suits on and tall hats. It's about not being scumbags and wrecking everything.
That's absolutely right.
In my later years, I'm 60 years old. I'm growing more spiritually than I ever have in my life. And I'm starting to learn that all the rules, God's laws, are not meant to keep us from having fun. They're meant to keep us from destroying ourselves and each other. And once you start learning and looking at it that way, you're like, my gosh, this is nothing but love. This is stuff you want your children to understand. So they have a happier, more fulfilled life and find out their power and their meaning and they have deep joy inside and are just fulfilled and secure and loved and all that, and not, destroyed like so many others. So
I totally agree with you.
What anybody needs to know is that's how the predators work, man. They want to be quiet and alone with the kids, and you shouldn't let them.
Yeah,
you should have
absolutely.
cameras everywhere, and at least 2 people, the TPI, 2-person integrity rule, and rotate staff so that no 2 get to work out some sort of scheme together. So just be vigilant. We're coming up with a program for churches and schools on how to better safeguard children that we're going to release at some point as well. It's early days on that program, but we were talking about that just a couple of weeks ago and starting to craft that one.
Well, I'm super excited about that. I mean, you've done Contraland. Everybody should go and see Contraland. You can go online. You can go to the website and see Contraland. It's also, it's you've got it's like a super high rating everywhere I look for Contraland. This documentary is phenomenal. People respond to it. Go to contralandmovie.com. That's contralandmovie.com. And I also, before I let you go, you're a good man, Craig. Sawman, you can feel it. You can feel that you truly have faith in God and in what you do. And there are so many children out in this world right now that are suffering. So many little boys and girls who have nobody to protect them, nobody to help them against these monsters that have, I just think, ripped their souls apart. And I think it's up to us as good people that love God, people that believe and have faith, to get out there, to do our part. Just like you said at the top of the interview, you said people are afraid. They don't want to hear these stories, but we can save lives. We can literally save children. There is nothing greater than that gift, to save a small life and to give them hope again. What can we do to help support your group? What can we do? Where can we go?
Well, the Bible calls us all to expose the evil. And so that's a task each of us has to do in our own way. Vets for Child Rescue, go to v4cr.org. We are a 501c3 nonprofit org, so they can help fund our operations and mission. They can buy merch, including our awesome Rescue Roast coffee, which is we got from a very high-end coffee roaster that we personally know. Fantastic stuff there. And pray if you've never prayed over children or over our nation, I invite you to start it. You'll be surprised at how good that feels, because we are wired to do that. We are not meant to be separated from our Creator spiritually. And so, folks, I would encourage any of you to just start praying. And if you haven't done it in a while, get back to it. That's something that's very, very powerful. Americans have been kind of deceived and kind of separated from that truth of how powerful prayer is. But, network with each other, tell people word of mouth, share Contraland, share our radio show, Defending Our Children. We've got a TV show, Defending Our Children, that's coming out later this month.
Where can we watch the TV show? Where is that going to be available?
That's on several networks, and that'll all be linked on our website. So the v4cr.org is a safe catcher's mitt where you can find anything that we do linked there. So
you guys, v4cr.org, v4cr.org. And we are going to do everything we can I know you out there listening right now, to Sawman, to me, you guys are going to do what you can. We are going to save this country. I always tell everybody, I know you're DevGru. I know my husband was Delta. I know we've got you guys are so amazing. You're truly, and I'm all about manly men. I'm like, you guys are great. You guys are great. And I'm just humbled by you and the work that you do. But I tell everyone, we're soldiers too. We're troops too. We're Marines too. We are just in a different way. We're here on the homeland. We are fighting the good fight. You're doing that now here as a citizen. And we do that by voting the right people in and by doing the right things and living the way God intended us to live. You wanted to say something else, Craig?
Yeah, just one quick thing. I want to back you up. The mama bears are the most fierce fighters I've come across in this fight for children. And God bless them. They have the moral courage because they don't care. They're not afraid of anybody when it comes to harming their children. And we warriors need to be more like that, like the fierce mama bears I've been witnessing.
Amen to that. Yes, brother. Amen to that. I just love you, Craig. Thank you so much. I can't wait to work with you. Let me know whatever you need. I'm going to be on your team. I will be whatever you need us to be. I promise you, Marty and I will be there for you.
Thank you. Bless you, your husband, your family, and your whole team there.
You got it. You got it. Thank you. Thank you again, Sawman, for coming on the Sara Carter Show. I mean, your story is so important. I believed it deserved a two-part podcast. There's just no way. Actually, it deserves 6, 8, 9, 10. We need to keep you coming on the show because it's just that important. You're inspiring. Thank you for your continued service to our nation and its people. Hey, folks, please make sure you're subscribed to the Sara Carter Show here on your favorite podcast app. It really does help us. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, on X at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless all the children in this world, that they may find someone to love and protect them. God bless our nation. Pray for peace in the Middle East, and God bless the great state of Texas.